everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Infinite Being School.
Welcome.
You guys might not know him. You might know him.
You may.
He's exposed on my social media from time to time. This is my partner, my chauffeur, my everything, Andreas.
So that means I'm part of the relationship.
He's in it.
I am in the relationship.
We are in relationship. Oh my gosh, you guys. Well, so I wanted to create this. I've been wanting to create this for a long time, honestly. And I've been in and out of choosing it. And how does it get better than that? This whole conversation is in and around creating relationships beyond reaction, which I'm going to state right up front, we're just learning. Would you say we're pretty new at that?
We're naive.
So we're not coming to you as experts at all. We're coming to you as ourselves, vulnerable with where we're at and what this has been like for us. And so we thought we'd tell you a little bit about our story over the last year, because the last year and a half has been very different. And not too much. We've got a whole podcast on that that's coming out soon. And then if you guys have questions or you've got stuff coming up for you in your relationship, I'd also love to address some of that in this live. And then we're going to invite you to a series after this that you can have through the holidays or after the fact at any time, where we're going to be live every day and sharing our process, our wedding, by the way.
Oh, yeah, by the way.
And just, be with you through the holidays. I think relationships are one of the hardest, most challenging, most rewarding things on the planet. And where do we want to start with this conversation? So.
Well, I like what you said. So yeah, right, guys, we're coming here like script, like naked, totally.
Yeah.
We're not here to position ourselves as an expert on relationships. We're
the best.
We're barely going over the 3 years mark, stuff like that. So we're really learning about each other.
I think this last year we've learned more about each other than any other year.
We have.
Yeah.
And one of the things is that we kind of were looking at it before it came here. It's like, we're going to come as we are, what is happening. And you might be shocked, you may not, but this is who we are today. And this is how we actually face relationship every single day.
Every single moment of every single day.
Every day, yeah.
And maybe I'm probably going to weave in teaching points just for you guys. So it's not totally about us, because I really want this to be about you too. Maybe that's the thing to really recognize, is that every single relationship that you have or that you're in, whether it's the broader family, like moms and dads and kids and all that, or your insignificant or significant other, I lost my point. It's a choice. It's a one choice at a time situation. That's what I call this: one choice at a time, creating relationships beyond reaction. Reaction.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. So one of the things that's a real gift for the two of us, and you might discover this for the people in your life, is that we handle things really different. I guess, what's a summary of what the last year has been like? What changed in our life that created a very different set of dynamics?
What didn't change?
Basically gave up our entire comfort zone.
So we met and we were determined not to be together. So that was the entrance of the relationship.
Yeah.
We agreed to get together and to enjoy some wine, because she did not want any relationship, so did not I. That was our first point, and then number one, that changed.
So we changed that 3 weeks later. We got into a relationship, and I moved to London, Ontario with all my things.
We got into a relationship. She moved in. She drank all my coffee, my Colombian coffee. And one of the things we knew from the beginning, like, and then we use it as like, we could move in, we could create this relationship, because you travel a lot. And I got my own things going on, and I also like to travel. And then there is going to be this dynamic where we're not on top of each other 24/7 all the time. So yeah, most likely will work.
This can work.
And that's the way it started, and they start working.
And then guess what happened?
And then it was working out really well. And then it was an alert on the phone that you all remember, and news and global pandemic and all that and quarantine.
Yeah, so 5 months later, we were in COVID quarantine, so that was 24/7. And that was definitely something to navigate. It was definitely different. That was the beginning of the start. That was the beginning of introducing dynamics into our relationship that we didn't start out choosing, right? Like that was not what we chose this based on. We chose this based on we're going to have a lot of space. This is going to be easy because we have a lot of space. And then all of that changed for the first time.
All that changed.
And then throughout COVID, I started getting caught up on my taxes, and we started looking at what we could choose country-wise to navigate tax situations. And that's where the choice for Panama came up. And so we full out chose it. And this is the very abridged version. But
Yeah. So you were a big part of like a big change I was going through. So I was still attached to the industry where you have to go and sit in an office at a certain location, which wasn't really my best choice. I mean, I wasn't really happy with that. But I will say that's one of the first times we start experiencing relationship, because
yeah,
up until that moment, it was all flowers and honeymoon and like the good stuff, and this is awesome. How does it get any better?
yeah,
I started learning about. I received bars, so it opened up for me a big time my life, and then I learned bars, and then we started creating this more conscious life, and then at certain point you were a big part of me leaving my job and just going on my venture. I have had so many ventures before that, but some of them worked, some of them didn't. But anyway, it was a mashup of things. So that was a big thing. And then after that, the trip to Panama got triggered and all that. And oh boy.
wait. So it was the move to Latin America for me that brought up everywhere in my world that I still wasn't receiving, basically. Like I jumped to judgment and coping. And you guys have seen some of that throughout the last year and a half. I actually have a private podcast coming out in probably the beginning of the year called Honest, where I'm going to be really in real time sharing more of that story. And just the bumps and the thrills along the way, because it is very bumpy. It has been bumpy. And so as we were kind of looking at this conversation today, I would say that's what's happened in the last year and a half is because we took ourselves incredibly out of our comfort zone, even for you. Like Panama wasn't like home.
No, I thought it was more like home, because you kind of leave a system that is very pressure driven, and you come to more loose system. But there was no friendly. There was all like everything that we kind of thought it was going to happen. It
Wasn't.
it
It
was the
wasn't.
opposite.
Yeah.
And on top of that, a lot of things with the relationship started showing up
Yeah.
and start being challenging, from challenging to extremely challenging.
Yeah. I mean, it brought up everywhere. I think every single backdoor that we've ever had individually and with another person has come up, and it still does today. It's just we're starting to learn to navigate it a little different. We've tried a lot of different things over the last year and a half, different tools. I'd say there's been change along the way, and it's definitely not perfect. What do you get? I don't even know where to go with this exactly, but like,
Well, I have a point that
yeah.
I kind of realized happened to me. I've been, up until we moved to Panama, I've been suppressing
Oh, yeah.
a lot of reactions. And one of the reasons I've been suppressing all those reactions is because I wasn't really proud of it. I'm like, this is not really mine. Like, what the heck is going on? I've never been this way. Why now I kind of have this tendency to have this reaction. Relationship kind of got me into the cave of like, wait a minute. Not everything for me. Not everything in life is like find the back door, exit, goodbye, good luck with everything. Sometimes like we were up to the point that we're committed. We sold everything.
Yeah.
We moved to a country where we thought we were going to grow the consciousness in the world, and
It's a whole other story.
it was crazy. But anyway, so having a back door wasn't sustainable anymore. So I stopped suppressing and I start reacting again and say, fuck it, I'm gonna stop suppressing and I'm gonna start reacting, because this is a relationship of reaction. This is what the topic is these days.
Yeah, yeah. So it's an interesting thing navigating this right now. Like for me personally, I am constantly kind of entering into the use of a different tool to try to change things for me. For me, the whole year has been like, I have to change this. I can't keep behaving like this. Every 2 to 3 days, we're into the same thing. And so there, I'm still navigating that. My latest, it's sort of like trending tool Tuesdays, because my latest tool that I'm using, I got from Shannon O'Hara, which is this: every time you go into judgment, you just revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and create, all that times a gazillion. But I didn't even realize that I was going into judgment. And so I think there's a lot that goes on in relationship that doesn't, that we misidentify and misapply as a problem in the relationship. And when we first got to Panama, that's definitely what I was doing. I'm like, this is the problem. This is how I'm feeling about it. This is what's coming up for me. And you need to change, essentially. And that is the source of every fight ever, no matter who it is with. You know, your partner, your mom, your kids, your whatever. It's like, you're doing this and it's making me feel this way, and you need to stop doing that. And even as I was engaging in that way, I knew that there was no out from that. There was only fight available there. But there was so much in my world that I had no other skills for. Like, I was like, that was the skill that I found there. And so I engaged in that. And then we got to kind of experience the effects of that.
We packed.
A lot.
We packed several times.
We
being
quit
there
on each other.
in that dynamics. We packed. We were 5 minutes. The last taxi that was supposed to pick me up to take me to the airport was 5 minutes late, and those 5 minutes actually got us together. He delayed, and I asked last question, and I kind of was like, this is a relationship. This is not really a, like one of those teenagers, kind of like, hey, let's hook up, let's see what happened, let's date for a little while. No, it's a relationship, and sometimes these kind of things are gonna occur. So it's up to you how you kind of like which direction you drive in. So I gave it a 5 more minutes, even though we were both up to here. I give it 5 more minutes, and she became vulnerable, and then we restarted a new age after that. But it wasn't pretty.
This hasn't been pretty.
It hasn't.
And I was talking to I think I've made myself pretty wrong, because for a long time I talked to you guys about how my top priority is ease. And I kept seeing myself in the relationship like not choosing that. I don't choose ease. We actually enjoy a lot of pain. We seem to enjoy a lot of pain.
Oh, what was the sentence today? Like, enjoy the pain.
Enjoy the pain.
You must enjoy pain.
Right. And so there was a lot of self-judgment about that for me. Like, I wanted to be the image that I had put together for you, for me, right? And it was not showing up that way. So I'm playing more now with total allowance. And this is the thing I can tell you guys changes everything. Like, when you have allowance for where you function from, allowance for the other person, that changes everything, because then you can choose again. But if you're constantly judging what you're choosing while doing it, which has been a lot of what's been going on, then you can't change it. Or if you need to change it because you've decided you have to be different, that was a lot of what was going on for me, then you can't change it. So it's been a bumpy ride in that regard, because we're navigating our own internal trigger points, coping mechanisms, truly what we desire, because that's all in there too. It's like, what do we really want to have here? So what's your latest tool set in navigating reaction? I mean, I don't know if you could articulate it.
I mean, like, I did a massive change in my life before I left this country first time, and it was all about grabbing these emotions and all these effervescence and explosion of temper, character, like I'm done, like the back door kind of thing. I did a great job kind of like being able to neutralize it with some rational kind of like look at it. It's like stop for a moment. Like what's happening right now? What is really occurring? What's the big deal? I mean, I just reacted to something that I didn't like, and what am I really reacting to? Like if I was doing that to someone else, what would that be? So I've been playing with like making a stop. I learn count until 10 before I react, and that's been one of my biggest strengths. Is like zip it, shut it, don't say anything, take your time, and sometimes count until 10 is not really 10 seconds. Is whatever you require to kind of get at least a different energy of it. And then sometimes time and space help you to navigate that. Sometimes you are making here a choice that I'm never gonna talk to this person again, so rude, so mean. I'm never gonna come back to this restaurant because this and all that. And 2 hours later or next day, you're like, well, I mean, it's not so bad. I mean, I guess
when the
people,
feelings are,
yeah, I guess
yeah.
people make mistakes, or everyone has it right. So I've been playing with that, kind of letting the emotion of the reaction kind of blow up all the way, and then kind of look at it, kind of leave it alone, and come back and look at it and different angles, and put myself in your shoes. That's one of the things I've been playing with.
That's cool. I've been playing really different. And again, as of the recording of this is probably my latest because I played with so many different things. And I'm hopeful that the private podcast actually will expose more of those things in the moment, because then I'll play with something and then I'll forget and then do the next greatest thing. But my latest comes from Shannon O'Hara's Club Consciousness call, and she talked about 2 days ago, like, if you're in a pattern, which is what this has been a pattern of reaction. Every 2 to 3 days, we've been just, going off about something and then coming back and like finding again that caring for each other. So it's like, if you're in a pattern about something, there's something you're committed to. And I kind of looked at that pretty closely like 2 days ago. I was like, so the question I'm asking myself is, what is it I'm committed to? Because there's usually in reaction, there's one or two things that you just send you over the edge, right? There's something that other person does, or a comment, or a topic that is the thing that you just can't take, right? You can't use tools. It's like you lose all your ability. And so I've been looking around that particular topic, that energy, going, what am I committed to around this? Because I'm so committed to it that I will let go of and give up the other things that I really care about in favor of this commitment. And it's always, I'll give up you, I'll give up the relationship, I'll give up the closeness. And then I always, 100% of the time after, want that back. So in truth, that's the thing that's really sweet to me. But I'll give up the sweetness for the commitment. So that's something for you guys that do a lot of reaction, or if you are handling somebody that does a lot of reaction, to kind of look at what are they committed to? What am I committed to? And it may or may not have just one response, but that's a beginning of a pretty deep dive into really looking at, like, I keep doing this thing around this thing. There's something I've committed to. What is that? And the second piece to that is, like, literally every time I have one of those heavy, dense, reactive energies come up, and what will happen for me is I will go into judgment unconsciously. And I know I'm going into judgment when I get really heavy. And then right after the heaviness, I snap. I do a cold, icy comment. That's my thing. So everybody reacts different. How do you react? What's your reaction signals?
Well, I just react based on what I have at reach at the moment. If there is a moment that I'm overwhelmed, pretty much my level of patience is low, because just so you guys know, coming close to family, it's got joyful things, but also it's got some others that they fill you up with a lot of stuff. So one of the things that, like, where I go is like, I've been okay. I allow myself to put a stop, a strong stop, and put limits, and communicate those limits on a way that are heard, not on a gentle slap kind of thing. gentle, like stop, enough is enough of this. Let's look at our options, and that's how I've been reacting
Okay.
lately.
So one of the things you guys can do with yourself to navigate any, the holidays are just an excuse to like more people get together. And the more that there are people together, the more possibility of reaction, right? That's the thing about this last year and a half is we've just been together like constantly, which is creates a lot more fodder for that. So paying attention to what your signs where you're going into reaction is really helpful in self-facilitating. So I pay attention. So I go into judgment, I get heavy, and then I snap, and then if something's already come out of my mouth, then I do different things. Sometimes I run with it. Sometimes I go away and puck and pod myself. But lately I've been revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it all times a godzillion. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pot, call, nine shorts, boys, pogadimians, to every judgment. Now, the cool thing about judgment is you don't have to know with words the judgment that you're in. You just have to know, you have to recognize the energy of judgment, and the energy of judgment is always heavy. That's it. So you don't have to know what it is, just that it's going on, that you're in it. That's all you have to know. And then you go, okay, revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it all. And so I've been sitting with myself these last 2 days for 5 minutes at a time, 6 minutes, 7 minutes at a time, in the middle of conversations. Revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it all. So what I've noticed since I've engaged in that personal process is I'm in and out of judgment quite quickly. And then I'll go back into it, and then I'll want to create some drama around it. And then I'm like, wait, revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate all that. So that happened a lot today, for example. I didn't really tell you much about it, but I was in and out of wanting to be down in the heaviness. So this is just something to pay attention to yourself about. If you tend to react a lot, some of you react internally, like implode, shut down, withdraw. That's still a reaction.
Oh, I was doing that a lot before. A lot. Because I avoid the conflict. I'm not really good at it. And the reason of that is because I'm strong. So the moment I go into conflict, I'm a warrior. And I'm going to win, no matter what, regardless of who's in front of me. So, hey, that's one of the reasons why I've been imploding. Because, I'm so strong that whomever is with me will be winners. But if you're against me, oh my God, get out of the way.
Yeah.
So one of the things that helped me get out of that process was vulnerability. So the reaction. So one of the most beautiful things of the relationship is like that person is your significant one is not there just to be against you or to create problems. Not all the time. It could be joy. That's the ideal, and it'll be fantastic if there are moments like that, and I'm sure there are. But when there are not those moments, I realized that it was easier for me to come back and ask Crystal, hey, I'm going through this. I can't figure it out. And then she always comes with a tool or something. But she asked very kindly, are you open to look at a tool or something or whatever it is? Start moving the energy some direction. So then all that heaviness that was before, just the vulnerability, lower the barriers. And that's been an amazing tool that I've been able to use as well. And if I want more, if I want further, I'll ask her for some tools we can run together. And we've done some facilitations about it.
Yeah, that was a turning point for us. We started using the judgment process with each other. And it's not something I share publicly because some people really abuse it. But if you guys ever want to have a session, I'll share it with you. It's just these 4 questions that you can run with another person. The thing about running it with your partner is that your partner has to have a level of vulnerability too, because you're asking them, what's your judgment of me? Basically, what's your judgment of you in regards to me? So that really started changing things, actually.
Yeah, I will say that something guided. It's because if your partner is facilitating you, and then
that really has to be like mutual.
It has to be mutual and vulnerable.
Yeah.
And your partner also, it may need to be in a position where it's not judgmental of the answers.
Exactly.
Because all the crap and all the stuff is gonna come up on that facilitation, and it's gonna come raw.
Yeah.
So you really gotta be there
Strong
for
and-
strong for each other.
You
kinda
gotta be
like-
really interesting point of view, but so even if you don't have that as a tool in your tool belt, recognizing that where the other person is coming from is really truly just an interesting point of view, like that they might be just doing a bunch of judgments. And I think it's also really important to say judgment's not real, and that doesn't mean that you're going to remember that, but that was the thing about running that facilitation with you, is like what you said, I kept remembering, this isn't real, this is just a point of view. This is just a point of view. This is just a point of view, but this is the point of view that's been creating the difficulty. And it's always a point of view that creates the difficulty, or 25 points of view.
Mhm.
Right.
That's where we realized that points of view keep coming up until they don't. That's where kind of you realize that, or you kind of bent off big time, and it was a good bent off. It was a raw, face-to-face conversation, so vulnerable. That helped a lot with the reaction, actually.
Yeah, actually. So that's something we can keep doing. But we're also, like, with this conversation, want to invite you guys to a series if you want it, where we can run that process with you guys. Because, so the link is above or in the comments if you're watching this. We're going to start Friday, so it's super last minute. But because, yes. Oh, man. So what's your latest aha in creating us, or creating this you and me thing beyond reaction? Like, what's your latest?
My latest, Well, I realized that, like, you are here not only for like to be judged for when you're not at your fullest, but also there is a lot that you've been magnificent, you've been amazing, that I haven't even been aware of. Give you an example. Bringing you here with my family, I adore my family. They are amazing, but they're so intense. They're like, imagine 3 or 4 people talking to you at the same time, asking you to fix their problems, and at the same time, some others telling you, "Quiere? You want some? You want this? You want this? You want that?" Your brain cannot even process all that. So there is intensity, there is a lot of care, and there's a different way to being expressed. There is a cultural difference, language barrier. There is a lot of pressure on you. There is. So my latest aha is, it's like, I can maybe like I cannot really ask you to be happy all the time, or to have no reactions. You actually you're entitled to have reactions. We are all entitled. We have that right to have the reactions. Now, what we do after with them, or how we learn from the process, that's different. That's more something like me. I am more like that. People fall, people strip down the floor, like whatever. But it's how you actually get up of that situation, and how can you face the next one. What did you use? What did you learn? What can you change? How can you make your next one better, or something like that? That's my latest aha. That is, they're gonna continue happening.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna keep having reactions. One day, they might be so much fun to have that they may disappear.
Maybe we'll stop enjoying the pain.
Seriously.
But I like, even that, you guys, if that's where you're at, then just let yourself be there. Like, what would it take to gift yourself caring for yourself exactly where you are, in all of your glory or in all of your mess, And that was the thing that I think has taken the most courage from me personally, is like to expose more of the mess. So it doesn't matter where you are. Allowance for yourself is key.
It's key, yeah. It's key.
Well, I would say that for you guys, one of the things that I've learned from him with his family, so, being around his family has been really different, and being in another country in another language, that's very different. As a lot of you guys know me personally, or my story, I don't have close family. My family experience is very different. We divorced each other very early. So to come into a family that definitely does that in moments, but essentially is close, was incredibly different. Not to mention the cultural part of that. So I am still discovering me. Who am I in this mix of people? Which I think is kind of a constant discovery, whether you're close to your family or you're not close to your family. Like, if I was being me here, what would I choose? And so, so I guess segueing onto family over the holidays or just family in general.
So what I've noticed and I realize is as much as you haven't had the best experience with family,
Yeah.
relationship with family, my family is a kind of hybrid there that it could be so intense, but you start realizing how different a relationship with family can be. There is an utopian thing that all the time, every single day, things are gonna go perfect and they're gonna go smooth, and there's not gonna be judgments or heaviness. It's not gonna happen. So what I've noticed so far is that you start kind of like liking it, the being close to the family.
Yeah.
And even myself, I'm like, I came here and I was kind of gave a speech to my mom at the beginning. I'm like, listen, you must forgive us ahead of time because we're not gonna be kind of running around with you, going shopping after shopping and this and walking. We have another life, so in advance, we're sorry. And now sometimes we're like, what are you guys doing? Why don't you invite us? Like,
Well, I can tell you what changed for me, and this might be a key to for some of you, is like there was a lot of me that wasn't including the family in our life. So the family wasn't really a part, again, with how we started. So how we started was I was doing my thing, he was doing his thing, I was traveling. His thing included a lot of family, but I wasn't really aware of that. I didn't make myself aware of that. I got a little bit more of a taste of that as quarantine started, but then when we moved here, that's when it really hit me. I was like, it's like an everyday thing. Like mine is a once every 3 year thing. This is an everyday, 3 times a day.
So you guys have an idea how it goes. It's like my mom is like a little talking machine. She's like a little parrot.
And they're friends. They talk all the time.
And then she calls like her thing is her phone. Since she learned how to function her iPhone, she's like, so she needs to be in touch with everyone like all single day. I guess some validation works
It's
there.
a lot of different things, but it's a mix, right? She also has this incredible superpower of making everybody feel cared about and staying connected with them, which I think with all family, all people, there's a weakness is a strength overused. I've heard that before.
Yeah,
Right.
I like
So
that.
it just can get overused. It tips into insanity here and there, but yeah, they're very connected.
So she's like that person that just calls you like 8 in the morning, hey, and they make you laugh. So it changes your day, like puts you into a happy mood or something.
But I wasn't including her in our life.
Right, because there was a reaction thing there that had not been handled.
And I have to be honest, this is where the private podcast I think is going to be helpful because there was a lot going on there. I mean, she's competitive. I'm competitive. There's stuff.
She's almost 80 years old, and you should
She's 70.
70, and you should look at that. It looks like 56 kind of thing, like 60s.
Anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Anyway, intense and everything, but I know you start like
I changed I chose something different, and this is what I wanted to communicate with you guys is I was having more difficulty when I wasn't energetically including her. So I was constantly kind of surprised and blindsided by when you wanted to support her and care for her and go spend time with her. I was always like I was doing something crazy with that. So I changed it.
But it was important for me too. I mean, like it was important to be aware of what you were aware.
Right.
So, and your reactions probably they're not the prettiest. Probably they're not ideal, but they were there.
Well,
there were reactions. There were changes. So.
And what I would also say about this, there's always a seed of awareness in reaction. Like right before you choose what you do with the awareness, there's a seed of awareness. So when I looked back on all the things that I reacted about, I was always aware of something. And then I instantaneously chose to handle it in this confronting way, which is that's when it goes to shit.
The competitive, maybe, or no?
It's an inability to communicate another way in that moment. It's like it's an instantaneous, it's like the awareness and the instantaneous judgment that you don't care, and then the reaction to the you don't care,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're into the shit.
So that's the ball.
Oh, it's a
Like,
shit
it
storm.
comes right on the slide,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's no way to stop it.
No.
But yeah, funny. So that reaction actually gets triggered by
And
something.
then that would trigger your reaction, and then we've been into shit for
Welcome to the
relationship.
The relationship.
But I mean, we're starting to catch things. Anyway, it's a process. But that inclusion of somebody is important. So if you guys have any of that going on, the choice to include them in your awareness changes that. So with that inclusion has come, I'm now aware every day of her. I'm now aware every day of your family, and like that they are a part of our reality, even if they don't live in our house with us. So that was a big change. Yeah.
I was telling you this morning how intense is, for example, doing shopping or groceries with her, because she wants to help so much that she gets in the middle of you and it's a mess. It's
So
adorable.
all of you guys have people, right? Like different kinds of people. My mom, for example, is the people that I don't speak to at all. She's actually let her internet go out and her phone go out, and she's living like poverty in the middle of suburbia. So some of you have family like that. I guess what I would really, really invite, when you have people close to you, most of whom are family or a relationship, it's a lot easier to live triggered. And so it's navigating and finding the way that you can have space and ease in yourself, even with other people having a lot of shit going on. Because you and I individually have had a lot of shit going on.
We do, and I noticed something there, that sometimes it may look easier just to don't face what's really happening and ignore it, avoid it, kind of pretend it's not there. Well, guess what? The thing keeps growing on the background if no one addresses it. So the reaction actually could be a gift to let you know what you were saying. There's a thing there that causes a reaction, and it causes a reaction because it causes a reaction.
Yeah. So I mean, the ideal would be to be able to have your awareness and, handle it elegantly. That's ideal. But we're not dealing in utopian ideals. We're dealing with ourselves exactly as we are right now. So, post-reaction, it's like, if you've already done it, do what you got to do to give yourself some space and be kind to you. And, revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce, destroy, and create it all. Like, just keep running that literally over and over until you have some more ease. The coolest thing there's so many cool things about doing this with you. One of the things I've said is like, I don't know another person that could do this with me, that could go through this process with me, allowing me to have the awareness after every reaction and change again and choose again. Because it's a powerful process, man. If you guys are anything like me, you don't do things half-ass. It's like if you're in 100%. If you're going to withdraw, you're going to black hole. If you're going to be outward, it's going to be like with the violence of 1,000 suns, right? So I appreciate that a lot. And I guess where I'm going with that is like, what I'm recognizing in our process is that with every reaction or with every moment, we do get more awareness. There is more awareness on the other side. We do learn something. There is growth and change, strengthening. So there's always a gift in what's going on.
I want to add something there. So one of the big helps in this process is that sometimes it's really easy after a reaction going to like the future, going to like, oh no, the future is not worth it, we're gonna go into that,
what am I doing this for?
There's no future, this and that. And also I noticed the shift with us that every day has a new sunshine. It's like tomorrow will be a new day. Let's see how the day looks tomorrow, one step at a time. It was really hard sometimes at the beginning for you to receive that one step at a time, and you'll be like, but how come if we can do 1,000? And I get it, but I did not really judge that. I'm like, sure, yeah, you go your process and all that, but also it's like having different tools.
One choice.
To me, it's like, one choice at a time. Like one choice at a time. It's been an amazing gift at this moment. We're not having the best. So we're about to get married.
We're getting married
We're about to get married on Monday. We're not having the most romantic honeymoon moment in our life.
I would say this is
It's
probably
pretty
one of the
bumpy.
most bumpy and elegant moments of our
It's
life.
bumpy, but there is a couple of gifts right there, and one of them is like one choice at a time. It's like let's let it happen. Let's let it surge. Let's let it react, and then let's look at it. So that's a gift.
It's all a gift. It's all a gift. And we just wanted to come on and encourage you guys. And also, like, if you would like some contribution throughout this next 2 weeks, you are more than welcome to join us. We put together an offer. You can come join us for 2 weeks. We're going to go live every day. And we're going to destroy and uncreate our relationship and everything it was yesterday. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, POC, online, shorts, boys, povens, and beyonds. And destroy and uncreate all our projections, expectations, separations, judgments, and rejections, all the decisions, judgments, computations, and conclusions, right, wrong, good, bad, pod, POC, online, shorts, boys, povens, and beyonds. We're going to take your questions. So, if you guys want us in our imperfect process through your imperfect process through the next 2 weeks, we'll be live on the day of our wedding. You can.
Have you guys ever watched someone getting married going through a little bit of a bumpy process on their life, their relationship?
No, it's always perfect, right? So that's happening too. And so every day will be something different, something we want to contribute to you from our own lives and our own just being in it with you. And obviously taking your questions and contributing to what you have coming up. So if that sounds like a gift, then you're more than welcome. And
all I can promise is we're gonna be as raw as we are. We're just gonna be, here's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And this is not a pretty thing all the time. No, I mean, like, it's a real relationship.
Yeah. So thank you guys for watching this. If you know friends that need this conversation, just invite them to infinitebeingschool.com. They can jump into the group that way. And if you'd like to come join us, you're more than welcome. And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye, guys. Thank you for your presence today.